Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Sunday, September 7th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I'm Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I find balance by working as much in the invisible as I do in the visible. Happy full moon, total lunar eclipse in Pisces day. The full moon will reach its peak at 11:09 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm not exactly sure what time the eclipse makes its exact point. My book right here says 8:28 a.m. Pacific time for the eclipse, but it never actually is clear if that's like when it begins or that's when it ends. I love the website timeanddate.com because it can show you where you live, what you can see of the eclipse, and the times for that. So check that out. I will tell you that if you live in the States, you will not be seeing this live. So just FYI. Let's dig into it. This energy is interesting, and I have to admit I've been procrastinating on recording this today just because the energy feels so massive to me, and Pisces is somewhat etheric and esoteric and can be hard to put into words. So I'm going to do my best, but it just feels really floaty mystical. So just FYI. Now it is floaty mystical, and at the same time, Pisces is very karmic. Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac, and especially with Saturn in the sign of Pisces right now, Saturn at the final degree of Pisces right now, we are working through really deep karmic layers. Now, karmic does not mean something good or bad. This doesn't mean bad things are happening to you. It means there are lessons. And what I find is there's a lot of echoing, looping, unfinished lessons from other lifetimes, maybe from this lifetime as well, that are coming up to be felt, experienced, learned from, and moved through, whether it's in the physical layers or also in the invisible esoteric layers. So keep that in mind with this energy. For eclipses, a lot of people make a big deal. It's a total eclipse or it's a, partial eclipse. And while that can make an impact on what you see in the sky, it doesn't make an impact on how intense the eclipse may be for you. This one feels very big. It doesn't feel massively intense in its energy. Maybe a little like I said, floaty, mystical. We'll have to see how you feel tomorrow. I actually often find that when the universe is like, hey, I just gotta move some of these energies through you, it'll actually knock you out a little bit. You may find yourself a little extra tired on Sunday as we move through these energies. So please be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to meditate, to daydream, to linger in bed a little longer, to allow these energies to process and move through you. And please, if you are up and about, and even if you're not, do take time to ground yourself, because these energies can be confusing, foggy, and floaty. I was looking up with the eclipses, when's the last time we had eclipses in the sign of Pisces and Virgo? And that was in 2016, 2017. Prior to that was 2007. I did look prior to that too and lost it. But the numbers basically have just left the building. But essentially every 9 to 10 years we will repeat the eclipse lessons. For my life in particular, those times were times of really massive spiritual growth. And that's one of the biggest lessons in both of these eclipses, is using the light from the spiritual, using the wisdom from the spiritual in your physical reality. Now, I do have this belief that everything has a spiritual connection, because God is in everything. The universe is what everything is made up of, right? So there's always the spiritual that can connect in to the mundane. But with these energies and with the world being what it is, this is the time to lean in and use the wisdom that you have learned through whatever your personal spiritual practice is to help you move through these layers. I would also say to use the tools that you have gathered over time, whether it's crystals or astrology, use of things like Reiki, what have you, to help you move through these layers and to help support others in moving through these layers. So do keep that in mind. I do think that it will be as well the ability to bring forth daydream and vision that is part of creating, I don't like to call it the new earth, right? But our next layer of lived experience. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we have some more karmic unwinding before we get there. And yet, this is a time to work on daydreaming it into being. That's part of working in the invisible, is to use your illusion and to, I don't know, encode your sacred heart into the beingness of this planet. There's not a lot of connections that are happening today between the sun or the moon and the other planets. But the things that we do have do feel profound. So the eclipse is happening at 15 degrees Pisces. That's where the moon is. The sun is holding space at 15 degrees Virgo. We have Venus today at 15 degrees Leo. So it's an inconjunct with the moon in Pisces. And the inconjuncts are interesting because it's like, we're not really sure exactly how to see eye to eye in this. We're not really sure how to work together. And what I really get from this is one of the big lessons of Venus in Leo is self-love. And I don't know, being willing to share ourselves in the world, share our voice, share our creation, share our creativity, but share our heart energy, right? And so this eclipse is saying, like, please remember to bring forth your big, bright, beautiful heart energy as you're daydreaming the world to unfold, but even as you experience the world. When things are so intense like this, it can be so easy to, like, put the boards up, wall it off, and be like, no. I still think we always need to be very aware of where we offer our heart energy, but you can shine that energy out into the world like a big old lighthouse. So please bring forth that energy. I think as well, Venus in Leo calls to mind our inner child. And one of the things that our inner child can do that our adult self maybe can't is our inner child can also bring forth the energies of belief and hope in the magical, right? And I think that's part of our calling in building the unseen, that which has not happened yet, but feeding our energy into that. Now, I also love that another connection that's happening in here, it's another inconjunct, so it might feel a little wonky, is Ceres in Aries in conjunct the sun in Virgo. So again, we have this inconjunct. How does this work together? This isn't really, maybe because Aries is like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Virgo's like, I will follow the rules. So what I love about Ceres in Aries, Ceres can represent mother energy and where we might need to nurture ourselves. And what it feels like in this inconjunct is like, yes, I know you want to follow the rules, but please don't forget who you are. Ceres in Aries is nurturing your truest I am self, which I think, again, goes kind of hand in hand with that Venus in Leo energy. I think the way we save the world is by being the truest, brightest, most authentic and heart-centered version of ourselves. And actually, there's a quote that Jesus says, like, what you bring forth will heal you, and what you hide away will harm you. And I think that goes hand in hand with bringing forth your truest, lightest, brightest self. And also looking at the other parts that you hide away, because a lot of times there's a lot of gifts, there's a lot of jewels in those pieces of yourself that you hide away. So I think those are some really interesting, brilliant connections that are happening in tandem with this. In the background, we also have Pluto and Uranus in a trine, working together to bring about change. Pluto and Uranus, my superhero planetary agents of change. Liberation and transformation. And so change is unfolding and is going to continue to unfold and is part of the divine order. These also are connecting into Neptune at 1 degree. What else do we have going on? We've got a Joe coming in the door.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. We also have the moon. I warned him, but it was too long ago because it took me so long to record this. Anyway, we also have the moon in Pisces connecting into Mercury in Virgo. So again, one of these oppositions. This is happening many hours before the new moon. But it's a really interesting opposition to bring forth. You may bring in some beautiful insight, and that's something that you may want to focus on as we move through the full moon portal. So notice if any beautiful thoughts arise in you, anything that just seems to intuitively come through and be like, whoa. Now, part of these lessons are also lessons around surrender to the divine, trusting the divine process. Like I said, working with the invisible, working with the spiritual, and watching where you tend to relate so strongly with reality that you forget that we're all co-creating everything that's happening. And you have so much power in your co-creation. So please don't over-identify with reality. I know it's a slippery slope, right? Remember to use your illusion. And if you are finding yourself avoiding reality, recognize that it's important to tune in, because that contrast of what we find in reality can help us figure out the ways that we want to work in different ways to use our illusion and create something different. I also think that it's very important, as my mind goes blank, thank you, Pisces. This Pisces energy is really hard. It's like, no, thank you. I don't really want to be here in reality. I think it's also really important to remember ourselves as divinely human, blending the layers of the spiritual and the mundane, and that reality is that as well. There is a lot of beauty. That's where I was going to go. There is so much beauty in reality, and sometimes we get super hyper focused or fixated, which brings that Virgo energy in, on what's not right, and we miss the gratitude and the beauty and the magic and the miracles that also exist out there. So please take time to see the universe, to see God, to see the mystical, to see the magic in your everyday surroundings and in yourself. The last connection that we have moving through the day is the moon connecting to Jupiter. That's going to be a little bit later in the evening. But that connection is beautiful. It might bring up feelings. You may not necessarily have big feelings happening around the eclipse itself. It might be a little Twilight Zone theme song feeling. Just weird and ungrounded and a little woo, foggy. But as that connection happens, you may have some feels and energies moving through. So please allow yourself to feel and express that. Because again, that might be part of some of the karmic layers and karmic works that are wanting to move through you. let's look at these cards. Oh my goodness, how have I talked for 15 minutes? Top of the cards is the Courage card, reminding us the importance of staying heart connected and how that is our strength, right? As heart beings, as beings with hearts, that is a strength. We have this again, which I love because Pisces rules the feet. Hard times require furious dancing. You should be dancing, and you get by with a little help from our friends. So please take a little time to dance through the energies, even if it looks weird like this does. We have the Traveling card. The Traveling card's always interesting. I love the Traveling card. I'm getting an interesting message because usually this is about like traveling through Earth and like, hey, how can you step lightly? What baggage can you put down? And I do think we're doing a lot of karmic processing, which is putting down these layers. But this is also a reminder, like, you can't take it with you. You know, like, life is impermanent. It's not he who collects the most stuff wins. And in a time of great consumerism, I think it's a really important message. Yes, get the things that you love, like, and enjoy your existence. But see how that applies to you and see what you're being asked to put down to keep moving towards the light. We have the Burden card. Here's the mental analysis, paralysis, the strong Virgo energies that are moving through here. And that might be a place of resistance that your mental's like, oh my gosh, all of this stuff is hooey, whatever. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Give it a try, see what happens. You're not going to get hurt by allowing yourself to daydream, by allowing yourself to imagine for a moment a better world and how you can move that way. That can inspire you. That can bring in solution from your soul, right? Solution. And finally, we have the Innocence card, which is the Sun card. And it's a card that reminds us that there is a bright future available to us. And in this, we are both the teacher and the student. At all times, in all ways. From Herbal Astrology, I have Shysandra, which is grace. And I think we could all use a little grace through these energies. Upright is inner beauty, inspiration, euphoria, visions, supernatural powers, and synergy. And its rulers are Jupiter and Venus. So, which we have connections with both of those today. It says, like the Temperance card in the Tarot, the goddess holds the cup of water, representing the subconscious, as she crosses over a stream of water, representing the conscious mind. Shysandra's medicine teaches us of the high alchemy of beauty, grace, and the harmony of dualities. Swan is here to remind you of the supernatural powers that you do have within. Thank you, Swan. Don't deny your innate and intuitive mastery. Follow your visions and pay close attention to the subtle language in your body and surroundings. If you feel out of orbit or aloof, make time to ground. Grounding will only facilitate your development to a higher consciousness. I don't think that card could be any more perfect, truly. So I love that. And because I did this in my patron group, I have my this crystal grid deck sitting right here that I pulled crystal cards. So let's pull one for the collective for this energy, because like I said, I think utilizing our stones, our rocks, our crystals, plants, herbs, whatever, this is how we're meant to move through these times. And so let's see, let's get a little crystal support. I'm feeling this one. Oh, this is an interesting one. Ooh, very pretty. Ooh, I love it. So it's Rose Aura Quartz. Heart's desire, love, divine. The energy of love vibrates on a soul level, penetrating the body through its many layers of tissue, all the way down to the cells. Rose Aura Quartz is a crystal of love, with the ability to shift one's sense of self, provide nourishment for your growth, and transform fear and doubts into unconditional love, creating a strong bond to the universe. It creates a synergy between the pineal gland, located in the brain and associated with your third eye, and the heart chakra, infusing your intuition with space to give and receive more love. And it represents all zodiacs and the sun and moon. How perfect. So I think that's a beautiful note to end on. If you would like support through these times, please reach out, email me. Oh my goodness. My computer sat there so long it just went to whatever. But anyways, reach out. And besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong. And know that you can trust the process. Namaste.